Hello everyone, I am Kpor and I'm bringing you Sunday's sermon recap from FGCI, the Emmanuel Mensah Chapel-Tema. Sunday's sermon was by Reverend Horlali on the theme, The Lord's Counsel Shall Stand. He took his scriptures from Isaiah chapter 46 verse 10 to 11. Here, Isaiah the prophet was confronted with issues. He had a lot of things going on. He almost doubted the Lord, but the Lord said, I declare the end from the beginning. The preacher then said, God goes to the end. The end has a purpose and a plan, which is the finished product. He then comes to the beginning and walks his way through a process to the end. During this process, there'll be challenges, there'll be back and forth, but with self-revelation, which helps in strengthening and building your faith, you knowing the end will let you be patient with your beginnings. The man of God also cited some examples I would like to throw some light on. In the book of Philemon, there was a man named Onesimus. Onesimus was a slave in a palace. Everyone knew him as a slave. He never thought he would leave the confines of the palace. This was because he didn't have self-revelation. He didn't know where the Lord wanted to take him. He then stole jewelry from the king. He then ran to Egypt. He was chased and caught. He was taken to prison, and in the prison, he met Apostle Paul. Apostle Paul told him that he is not just a slave, neither is he an armed robber, but he's going to be a preacher of the word. In prison, his life was transformed. Apostle Paul then wrote a letter saying, I am bringing back Onesimus, not as a slave, but then as an apostle and a preacher of the word. This is to tell you that God knows the end from the beginning, and there was a reason why Onesimus encountered Paul. During the sermon, there were some salient points made. One was, the greatest disaster man can encounter is not sickness, neither is it death, but it's lack of self-revelation. He also said that anything born out of prayer is contagious. The last point he made was, if your foundation is not prayer, you have lost it.
Paul was in that prison. And when Onesimus got in touch with Paul, because of prophetic and spiritual revelation, Paul could see the end of Onesimus and said to Onesimus, I don't see an arm robber. I see a preacher of the word. I see a preacher of the word. I see a preacher of the word. Sometimes God will bring you into contact with men and women of destiny. God will orchestrate sometimes the process and the pain you go through. God is not ignorant. Onesimus stole jewelry, but in the calculation of time, Onesimus needed to meet Paul in the prison.
This is the recap of Sunday's sermon. We hope to see you in church on Sunday. Be blessed.